Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. It's Pro Wrestling Weekly. It's midweek. We got lots of pro wrestling news to go through, recaps, reviews, previews, everything that's in there, a little bout of history, some notable birthdays. I don't have too many notable birthdays this week. I had to search high and low for notable birthdays this week. I'll let you know, but I have a little bit of stuff in there, kind of related to this man I'll show you now in a minute. But before we start, Sean, how are we, my friend?
Doing great, Niall. How are you? Thanks so much for having me back so soon.
Always a pleasure. Have you recovered from 2 weeks of non-stop wrestling?
Just about, but I'm still hanging a little bit, you know. It's only when you start getting up and having to go to college and work, you realize how badly it can take it out of you, you know. Getting up to live your life after a wrestling weekend is, I found out the hard way, a young man's game.
That's it. Well, absolutely. Well, I'm banjaxed. I stayed up all last night watching the election for my sins because it related to my cryptocurrency dealings. So,
okay.
So I was attempting to make a few bob last night while staying awake. Just a footnote for anyone in Ireland who does cryptocurrency trading: don't do it in the middle of the night. It's not a good idea. You make silly decisions, that's for sure. But make sure, folks, if you are locked in here, that you're subscribing to the channel, hitting the bell notification button, dropping a like on the video, and all that good stuff. We'll go into the comments first. I was in there. Big up. What's a crack, Niall? Great to see Sean Bros back. It's an absolute honor and a privilege. How's doing, fellas? We've only one Sean tonight. Where's the other fella? The other fella sold us out for a cheap meal. Sold us out for a meal, didn't he, Sean?
Yeah, scum.
That's it.
Good seeing him.
Right, but before we begin, we have a 47th president of America.
Oh, wow.
Kind of a mixed bag there.
Yeah, he's definitely certainly a lot of characters on the screen here with Trump. I don't know what to say, really. I would say America deserves better, but they voted for him. Second time now. You know, first time, you ever hear the phrase, first time shame on me, second time shame on you?
And quite a margin. Quite a margin as well. This wasn't close.
I think, like, as far as last night, they were saying Pennsylvania was the deciding state. So, depending on how bad it was, Pennsylvania's vote could have been the deal breaker. So that was making it out like it was paper thin, but I think it was like 270 to 223 to Trump, which is like a landslide.
Yeah, it was
crazy.
It was I think did he finish on 277 or something like that? I read or something like just.
Yeah,
it was very, very impressive anyway. Acers in, no competition, Trump always going to win. I felt that way as well. I wasn't convinced by Kamala Harris, but listen, it's like we have in our own country here. There's not many great choices, so you're kind of trying to pick the cream of the bad bunch, if you like, because you have to vote for someone. So it's kind of like that there as well. But we shall see. I would preface that. I don't know. Did you see Jim Cornette's tweet today?
Oh God. I think he came up my timeline. I didn't read it. What did he?
Yeah, he turned around and he says he now knows how Charlton Heston felt when he seen the Statue of Liberty buried on the beach in Planet of the Apes. He's a legend, Jim Cornette. He's a legend.
Always has a quote for something, doesn't he?
That's it, yeah. November 29, the Ireland election. What's another year? Darren was telling me he was at the live show in Dublin. He was telling me there was a lad there just as Jim Cornette in the red suit with the yellow trousers and a tennis racket and the whole lot. No, said it was pretty cool. Yeah. He said he was at the Dublin live show.
Oh, but I didn't see him. I would have got a picture of him if I did.
Yeah, he said he was really cool. But just to let you know, folks, we're going to do a review of Crown Jewel. Sean's going to give us a review as well of the Dublin live show, which for all reports seemed like people were extremely happy with it. We're going to take a look back at Raw. We're going to have a look at NXT Goes Extreme tonight at 2300, the ECW Arena. Get your thoughts on that as well. And we'll take a look back at the usual level of history and all that kind of stuff, and notable birthdays as always. So just bear with me 1 second. I have to let a dog out. And just like that, I'm back. Yeah, there you go. Right, so we'll kick it off with Crown Jewel. Sean, give us your thoughts. Start at the top there. Cody versus Gunther.
I think the crowd at this point realized this is probably the biggest match in the card. So there's a lot of Mexican waves and chants and everything, and I feel it kind of detracted from the match. I say that as if the match had a lot going for it, and the crowd took away from it. It really didn't. You know, we were on the podcast last week. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before. We were just saying, like, people are like, oh, I can't believe Gunther's going to lose. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's not a blemish on his record at all, because it's a title you're going to see once a year, and a ring that's probably never going to be mentioned again. So it's
till next year.
Yeah, till this time next year. But it's no loss for Gunther. I thought the match was good. I think it could have been better. I think if there was real, serious, marketable stakes, you know, an actual title that you see every week, and not a ring that, like, you can wear in your finger, I think this could have been a lot better. It would have added a lot more to the drama. But I still think they did good work. I mean, how can you throw Cody and Gunther in the ring and have anything but a great match? I would say Cody's was the right winner, but saying that assumes there was stakes. There's none. And I'm probably going to say the same thing about Nia Jax and Liv once we get to it. But no, good match, totally inconsequential. Hopefully some more stakes and a bit more care next time we're on the road, which I think is Survivor Series at the end of this month. Am I right in that?
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah, okay.
Vancouver.
So hopefully a bit more to write home about there. But no, good match.
I suppose with Crown Jewel is one of those things where you morally either like it or you hate it. And it doesn't sit well with people, and other people it's not a problem. And I just think for me, it's kind of one of those, it's like a glorified, filthy rich house show, really, isn't it? Isn't that really what it boils down to? And they prop it up with a lot of stuff. Having said that, I have to say, that WWE experience out there in Saudi looks the business, I have to say. I would like to see that. And I said to you boys on Saturday or Sunday when you dropped in as well, I kind of would like to go to one Crown Jewel. I'd like to go to one and just experience that level of wealth, that level of setup, that level. Because, I mean, this is, whatever about it, this is WrestleMania level at times in terms of the setup and the money thrown in and everything else and all. It's quite big, you know. And, of course, hats off to Cody and everyone else who appeared on the show. And then less than 24 hours later, they were in Dublin at a house show. So, which is absolutely incredible and serious dedication, no matter what anyone thinks. So Liv and Nia, similar.
Yeah, similar. Slightly worse than Cody Gunther. Pretty predictable that Dominic is going to get involved somehow. But as I say, it's not a blemish on anyone here. Doesn't matter if Nia won. Doesn't matter if Liv won. You know, just give the Saudi fans something to write home about. Give them an excuse to go back to Saudi every year. I will say about the house show thing, I used to think that. I still don't like these shows. I think compared to how they were like 2018, I think when they started doing shows here, they've come leaps and bounds. They're so much better now. I feel nowadays they treat them like actual, like proper pay-per-views or PLEs, no different to any other.
The fans have definitely developed. The fans are more into it now, and they've a better understanding and a better education on it and stuff like that as well. So they kind of similar to what we've seen in Backlash and Berlin and all. They create that atmosphere in there, and the setting is phenomenal as well. But I mean, in terms of relativity, you know what I mean? Like it's like as if, you know, we were to put up huge importance in terms of matches that were on the Dublin show. You know, the Dublin show and the Dublin card wasn't too bad either, in fairness, and it was a good show and stuff like that. But it was just maybe, you know, 400 or 500 million short of the Saudi show.
Yeah,
that's kind of where I'm coming from. You know what I mean? It's an unbelievable spectacle to watch and all. And I said to you even in the shop, remember, I said even when you pan out and they do the drone footage and they're doing it after the pressers and the post-match press conferences and all, like the facilities and everything that are there are just phenomenal. It just looks unbelievable.
Oh yeah, I mean the scenery and everything is amazing. It's just such a shame that that they seem so lost in the shuffle because like with the Crown Jewel titles, they're just so pointless and yeah, I just don't feel like even now that these shows, are treated seriously, I still feel they don't matter as much as shows in America. And that's not me saying like anything to demean anyone, but it seems like the American show is put on for the audience and the Saudi shows are put on for a group of people. And it's more
Yeah.
about getting people to Saudi than, drawing people for a WWE show or getting people like to travel or stuff like that. And I will say the only thing about, you say going to these shows, it's roasting hot and they ban pork and alcohol. So no hot dogs, no pulled pork sandwich, no cider. I don't even think they have cider in Saudi, but whatever. So I don't know if I could sacrifice that. And also the shows, the best, I think the worst American show in WWE or AEW absolutely trumps the best Saudi show. So
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, it's interesting the way they're trying to develop it, and obviously the two belts are in there now, and the winners obviously get these rings. I'm sure the rings are worth a fortune as well. And then each year the winner is going to get a ring. So obviously we have like the two winners, and they made it felt like it was a big deal. They really made it feel like it was a big deal. But I just sometimes when I look at these shows, there's just that gravitas of so much wealth floating around, that it's nearly kind of like, I don't know, it's nearly I don't know what way to describe it. It's strange, you know what I mean? Where you know you look at the shows in the States and all, and you might have a guy in there who's 50 and he's in this Hulk Hogan t-shirt that he bought in 1992 or something like that. You know what I mean? And then you go to the Saudi shows and there's guys lying around on couches, and there's just stinks of wealth no matter where you go and stuff like that. But they're different countries, obviously, in different situations. Up next, the Bloodline, the OTC versus Solo and the boys. How'd you feel about this one?
How do I feel about this? I think it was a typical Bloodline match. Experience, slow, takes a very, very long time to get to the point. I didn't think it was too bad. I was quite surprised that Solo beat Roman. But first, I was surprised Roman beat up Solo as easily as he did, and I was surprised that Solo's team not only won the match, but won the match by pinning Roman. I mean, I like Jimmy Uso, man, but he's right there. He could have just took the pin. It wouldn't have killed him. But I'm more interested in the post match angle because we were speaking last week. Obviously, Sammy was caught backstage at Raw last week, the week before last, having conversations with Solo, and then he made it clear that he does not want to be with Solo, and then he went for the haluva kick, but he went out of the way and he got Roman instead. I think Roman should have moved out of the corner because he could see Sammy was there, or Sammy should have done it in another corner. But obviously, common sense is not very common in main WWE now. So I'm interested to see where it goes. I feel I don't know. I feel Roman might not be as forgiving towards Sammy. I feel he might earn back.
It's like they've tried to roll back that storyline again with Jimmy and Jay, isn't it? And it nearly somewhat feels like lazy creative in a way.
Yeah, it
because
kind of.
it's.
Someone told me it feels rushed. The whole thing, like they're just trying to get the Bloodline back together quickly. And I think what made the Bloodline story initially so good was that really detailed and calculating yet slow build to things. So the fact that they're rushing this, I don't know if that's a good idea. Because Solo's Bloodline already are not as good, aside from maybe Jacob Fatu, possibly Tamatonga, definitely not Tangaloa. I don't think they're as good as the original Bloodline. The original Bloodline had a lot of time. This new Bloodline just feels like they're just trying to get to the next finish line really quickly, and it's not for me resulting in engaging television. But having Sammy in there just like the original Bloodline. I was bored of it. Then they added Sammy in there and I got excited again. I'm hoping now that Sammy is involved in this, that we can get excited for it again.
Yeah, Sammy feels like he's going to be the trump card in the middle of this whole storyline, and it's going to be like, I get the feeling, are we going to get a heel turn here and he's going to go with Solo because these boys are going to send him down the road. In other words, they don't want him bar Jay. And when you feel unwanted, then the enemy convince you to jump ship. And I think maybe that might be the storyline that they're trying to sow. So if that's the case, does that happen in the middle of the War Games match? Or what way does that flesh out in terms of Survivor Series? It's going to be very interesting. But again, I suppose when we're dealing, and we spoke about this on the podcast a couple of times, when you're dealing with a 2-hour show, or you're dealing with two hours of TV, that bloodline situation takes up so much time. You know what I mean? It feels like it goes on forever, but it's going to be interesting to see, can they elevate it in again to get our juices flowing again in it and stuff like that? And who else is going to get involved, obviously, because we're short a few bodies here as well, for a War Games match. We need a hell of a lot more than 4 and 4. So, and that's even if Sammy is involved. Let's see what happens there, But yeah, I have a funny feeling we're going to get the Sammy heel turn, and he's going to go with Solo and the boys, and then that might lead to a storyline down the road where the boys free him from purgatory and he gets his redemption and all that kind of thing somewhere down the line. So could be booking out there for 12 months, really. The women's tag match, Bianca and Jade coming out on top.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the result of this was ever in any doubt in my mind. I like Bianca Belair. I'm not the biggest fan of Jade Cargill. I just think they put a lot of trust in her, and she's not, she's still quite green in ring. She's not really an engaging personality. And women's tag titles, to me, haven't felt relevant or important or something to care about. I was going to say in a long time, but that would assume like they were ever like that. I don't know if they ever have been like that. I thought the match was pretty good. It got good near the end. I think Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, particularly Chelsea Green, are a really funny team. The fact that Chelsea's plans all backfire and somehow like she ends up taking all the worst bumps from her own tag team partner from her own accord. I find that really funny. Metaphor, I actually thought they looked really impressive. I didn't expect them to win the belts, but I'm hearing people say now they're going to be on the main roster, which is exciting, but I hope they can hopefully soon be joined by Noam Dar and I don't watch NXT, the other guy in Metaphor. But I also feel like if they want to make the women's tag division important, and especially now they have these two young up-and-coming people in a team, I don't think they can rely on outside interference or rely to be second fiddle to two other people. So
yeah,
if they're just on their own, I think that'd be okay. And then Damage Control, they felt a bit unfocused for a long time. But I didn't see any other result other than Bianca and Jade. So yeah, Bianca and Jade continue, and I'm interested to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, you kind of feel when they drop the belts, it's going to have to feel like a big deal and cause nearly an implosion between them, isn't it? Because I think all roads lead to both these girls going up against each other, potentially with Bianca turning heel. Because I think Jade would have to say face for the moment until she just kind of tightens up a little bit on stuff and things like that and all before she has that depth in it. Certainly, I think she could present the look of a heel and everything if she wanted. And certainly would have the arrogance and the attitude of it. But I don't know whether the ring technique is in there to sell it to us enough. So
no.
But I think that's ultimately how this is going to go down, with the two girls turning on each other eventually, or one turning on the other, if you like. And probably it's going to be Bianca Belair, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Next up, we had the triple threat: LA Knight versus Carmelo Hayes versus Andrade.
This is probably my favorite match of the night. I really, really enjoyed this match. I like all the guys in here. I think it's a testament, especially to Andrade, that they came out to pretty middling pops. Andrade they weren't on their feet really for Andrade. But the match was, I think the last couple of minutes of it, the last quarter of it, if you will, was really frantic. It was almost like a car crash. Again, with I feel a lot of these matches were predictable, aside from Seth and Bronson, and then Randy and Kevin while it was advertised. I didn't think LA Knight winning was in any doubt for anybody, but I really enjoyed the match. Really, really, really enjoyed the match. Actually, the last section you might have missed it because you had to go and I assume give marching orders to the dog to say leave or.
No, he wanted to come back in. He's here now on the bed.
Oh, is he? God, be a shame if you Al Snowed him or something just to keep him out when you're recording.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, but no, really enjoyable match and good victory for LA Knight.
I loved the way the camera just came into the shot and caught the finish just in time. Looked really, really cool. Like it was just because it felt like it was really kind of, nearly like one of those jump scare moments where the hitching, it was full on in you kind of thing. You got the full effect of it, like you were nearly taking the finish. So that was really, really cool, I thought, and all, And I really enjoyed LA Knight's interview after it as well as post-match presser, where he spoke about his journey over the last 20 years. And he was talking about, building on his legacy and where he wants to go and all that kind of stuff. And that, obviously, he was semi talking about how the clock is ticking and all, because he's sort of, it took him time to get to WWE, to the promised land and all that kind of stuff. So it was quite an interesting interview, and it was quite deep. He went on it, which was pretty cool, So hopefully post United States champion, hopefully he does go back into that kind of upper echelon belt area and stuff like that and all, because he's absolutely fantastic. Next up, Seth freaking Rollins versus Big Bronson Reed.
Seth Rollins versus Bronson Reed. I prefer. Big Bronson Reed's cool. I hate the freaking and Seth freaking Rollins because you have to earn that, like Seth F and Rollins or something like that. But if it's literally in your nickname, that's really bad. That's not the point, though. I thought this match was also really, really good. Good work by the two of them. I said, I think on last week's podcast, or it might have been, it was recently enough though. Amnesia. I said I think Bronson Reed doing all those tsunamis onto Seth really reinvented him and gave him a boost. And the program with Braun, even though he came out on the losing end, was really good. So I was interested to see this match with Seth because obviously he hadn't been around in a long time. I think it was a really good big man versus slightly less bigger man. So like the thing is, Bronson Reed's actually not that tall. I think he's only like 5'11" or something like that. I think Seth is actually taller than him by 2 inches. But the match was really, really good. They were able to get a good big guy versus small guy dynamic. I don't know if it was intentional, but I loved the stomp on the steps that cut him open.
Yes.
Because at the end, when Seth is screaming at him on the ramp, like, "Oh, I'm not done with you. This is what you wanted. If you happen again, I'll come back after you." And he's there with the blood on his face. You hear that expression.
And his eyebrow was nearly gone.
Yeah, like the most dangerous kind of animal is a wounded animal.
Yeah.
So I think the revenge he's going to get. I don't know when. I don't know if he was on Raw this week. I didn't focus, but I'd imagine he's taking a little bit of time off, not to sell his injuries because he's not injured, but to sell the beatdown, and he's going to become even more aggressive and even more crazy. And I think that's bad news for Seth Rollins, but good to have Seth back. First and foremost, and this is a good match.
And Seth kind of back with like a little bit less glitzy kind of jokery kind of stuff. He's more focused on the job in hand, and like it was cool as well because both boys did a stellar job over the last few weeks building to this match with the attacks and everything else and all, which was really cool. So they made it feel like it was a big deal, and there wasn't any belts involved, there wasn't any rings, there wasn't any kind of, this was just. Here's a brute trying to make a name for himself, and he's trying to use a seasoned veteran, as you'd say, as a stepping stone, and he was having none of it. So it was cool, and it's nice for Seth Rollins as well because, he can take a step out of that, that top circle kind of thing where he normally operates in, and he can go down there and he can have a lot of fun with an up-and-coming guy who's going to be an absolute superstar, so it was kind of cool. It was really, really good. And then Randy versus Kevin.
I mean, it wasn't a match, was it?
No.
It was a fun brawl. I kind of anticipated that it wasn't. I didn't say it in the podcast because I didn't think about it at the time. But I kind of anticipated that this was either going to be a brutal match or just a brawl. And the fact is a brawl was cool because it works. Because I think Randy is so, driven and possessed by revenge. He doesn't care that he doesn't care that they didn't have a match. He just wanted to use that slot in Saudi just to hurt Kevin Owens. And I really, really like the little touch of Kevin Owens wearing the Cowboy Bob Orton. Yeah, the Cowboy Bob Orton t-shirt.
Yeah, it's those little touches, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'd have no problem actually seeing them in a match. I think an Extreme Rules match or something like that would be brilliant.
Yeah.
But it was a fun little brawl on the card. I don't think it hurts the feud at all, the fact that they didn't have a match, because sometimes like matches can be advertised and then it gets scrapped for a brawl segment, and it's usually a match no one cares about, or it's either a match people cared about, and by the time they do that, people lose interest. But I don't think that's the case here, and I'm really looking forward to seeing just who can go lower, Randy Orton or Kevin Owens.
Yeah, and I think it was like with the time that they used, they got a lot in. You know what I mean? So they made it feel like this isn't finished yet. This is what we're going to do. I even thought the camera work on the elbow coming in from Kevin, I thought that camera work was right on it there. So you got to feel the full brunt of it and stuff like that. No. So yeah, no, it was really cool. And then again, Kevin's interview afterwards as well was pretty cool as well. Being quite beat up and stuff like that. And all Kathy Kelly was interviewing him, and it was kind of like, it was kind of so this is what I do, boom boom boom, kind of thing. It was interesting, very very interesting. Keith is in. Surely God, we won't see Cody hold the WWE title until WrestleMania 41 next year. His title run has been super underwhelming, and he should drop it at Royal Rumble. Thoughts?
I don't know what the plan for Mania is next year. He hasn't totally lost me though. And I think that match with Gunther, it was a good match, but it was totally inconsequential. So as I was saying, no reason to care about it. I think once they get back to business, he starts having great promos and great matches like he used to. I think I'd give it a chance. But if you're gonna do it at the Rumble, it has to be someone good, someone really really good. And the Rumble's in February, which is not that far away. So I don't know if they'd have enough time to build up someone who's a credible challenger, for Cody to beat, which he would, but to beat Cody as well. Like realistically, who is there right now who's either not in a feud or in a feud that would probably, be wrapped up by the end of before the Rumble, so they can do something with Cody.
Yeah, because you kind of find even going into WrestleMania 41, if Cody is the champion and stuff like that, again, your point is valid again. Who does he face at WrestleMania 41? You know what I mean? Is it going to be just The Rock parachutes in for a month or two and builds it every couple of weeks, and that's the match we get? Or, is it going to be something more meaningful that builds maybe from Survivor Series and gives us a good 3-4 month build or something like that? We've often spoke about, could it be Randy Orton? Could it be someone else, someone of that ilk? Maybe, who knows? But certainly going to be interesting. I mean, I don't think we're finished yet with Seth Rollins, but I kind of get the feeling he's filling time waiting for Punk to come back.
Yeah, the next thing for Seth has to be a Punk feud.
I would have thought so. Right, next up, you had a good time on Sunday night. So we have a review of WWE Live in Dublin. By all accounts, some people who came in afterwards and on the Monday, I should say, had a really good time. We're really happy with the house show. And enjoyed every moment of it. Shout out to Darren as well. Darren gave me the images. He took some great images there. He had some real good seats. And give us a rundown. You were at the show. Give us your thoughts on the crowd, the matches, and everything in between.
I mean, the house shows, they're always a lot of fun. They're just laid back. People go out and have a good time. I always try to get to them, I should say, whenever they come close here. But the thing is, I don't understand how WWE can continue to come here, get great crowds, great numbers, sell out really well, clearly have the fan base here, and then go, you know what, I don't think we'll do a PLE in Dublin or Ireland because there's clearly no interest. And then you see this, and you see JD and Finn getting sent over to OTT, and you see everything else. I don't understand. I hope it's just a matter of time. And I was thinking at the end, I'll talk more about it when we get to it, but after the not the street fight, Niall, the Dublin street fight.
Yeah.
A street fight, but it's in Dublin.
Mm.
Cody brought a young fan into the ring called Sam. You've probably seen it.
Yeah,
Some of it on Twitter or TikTok. But Sam said, you know, like, I hope beat Roman's record and everything. And I was thinking, if I was in that position, one thing I would have said is, Cody, next time the WWE come to Ireland, whether it be Dublin or wherever, I don't want it to be a live event. I want it to be a premium live event.
Mm.
I think it's only a matter of time, because as I said, how can you draw these crowds, passionate crowds, and sell every time and come every time? If the crowds weren't good or anything, or the numbers weren't good, they wouldn't come here.
Yeah, I mean, that was a sellout the other night as well. So that's a minimum, I would imagine, of in around 10,000 at that show. You know what I mean? So it's not a small crowd.
And that's a matter of, as Triple H saying in that Mania package, WWE is on fire right now, but it's also people who love wrestling and love the WWE. So I'm getting sidetracked. I'll talk about the show. So Naomi defeated Tiffany Stratton in the opener. Naomi came out in a tricolor singlet and like a glow in the dark entrance, so the crowd were really into her. The crowd were really into Tiffany Stratton as well, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
But Tiffany worked heel, and they had a pretty enjoyable match. I was kind of surprised Naomi won, though. I was thinking, well, I know like the baby faces bar two cases on this card always go over in the house show because they're meant to be fun and enjoyable for the audience. But I was thinking the fact that she's missed Money in the Bank and she's teasing cashing in on Nia, it's only a matter of time, I think. I was kind of surprised they gave the win to Naomi. But no, really fun match and a nice way to kick off the show.
Yeah, Keith is in. What about John Cena to break Ric Flair's record? We started that conversation back when Cena announced his farewell tour, basically. And since then, a lot of talk has been taking momentum about this. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see what way this goes. But, you know, you would imagine that would be, I don't know. Yeah. When we spoke last week, Sean, we were kind of thinking maybe Gunther, and we weren't necessarily just thinking Cody. But certainly it'll be interesting. But I think, how do you feel about that? I mean, you're a huge Cena fan. I'm a huge Cena fan.
You won't hear any complaints from me about that.
So you want it to happen. You're voting in on it. You want it. You're all behind it.
Yeah, I mean, because it's his last run, and also because his last one was really poorly booked, and the fact they couldn't even have him be pissing Solo Sikoa in Saudi Arabia on a nothing show. But I don't want it to just be, oh, he's retiring, so we have to give him, you know, the belt just to please fans. I think I want this run to be honest. Like, I know it's next year. I want this run to be honest, and I want it to be rewarding. I don't want John Cena just be put into matches simply because, you know, he's retiring and we want to get as many good matches and bucket list stuff.
And we don't want a token gesture title either to make it 17.
No, absolutely not.
We want him to go through it to get it.
Yeah. Go through it and have a really, really good match. Like the last time he held the title, which was AJ Styles at the 2017 Royal Rumble, I think. Go watch that match back. I think it's free on WWE's YouTube. It's even better than you remember. But yeah, I think Cena, if he broke Flair's record, that'd be great. But at the same point, if he retired tomorrow, like announced his retirement and that was it, no retirement tour, his legacy still stands. And I don't think there's anyone, well, let's say anyone, probably Charlotte for the women, but men anyway, I don't think is going to get 16 or 17. So it's going to stand the test of time.
I mean, your closest maybe might be Orton because he says he wants to wrestle till he's 50. So, that would be as close as it gets.
Is Orton on? What's he on? Is he on 13 or 14 or something like that?
He's on 13 or 14 or something.
Yeah.
Like that. But you would think, what age is Randy now? Is Randy 42, 43 or something? Is he?
Pushing, yeah. Late 40s,
so if he wants to wrestle till he's 50, he's what, 7 years? Is it inconceivable he wouldn't get 3 in 7 years?
I'd say so. Yeah, that's probably fair.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
Yeah.
Or maybe Cena gets 17 and Randy then gets 18.
Oh, I'd never.
They build on each other. Can you imagine? Yeah. Next up, the Bloodline versus defeated the Street Profits. I have to say, if you're a wrestling fan and you haven't seen the Street Profits live, they're outstanding.
Oh yeah,
really outstanding.
They're great fun.
Go ahead.
So the Bloodline was actually made up of the ones that wrestled was Tama Tonga and Tangaloa, and Jacob Fatu accompanied them.
Yeah,
they got big boos when they came out. Everyone, I was sitting ringside, so when Tama Tonga was coming out, everyone was going, doing the thing. I don't know what it is that he does. That. It sounds like Beavis. Beavis and Butthead laughing or something like that. He's doing that, and Jacob Fatu was praying to Solo, and then everyone's booing, and he said, "Acknowledge your tribal chief." Sol Sikoa, and there's OTC chants. And the Street Profits, I feel the Bobby Lashley thing kind of didn't work because they were meant to be heels taken seriously, but they still kept everything. And then they gradually kind of drifted apart from that, and then Lashley got released. So I feel they kind of lost that, but they were a lot of fun here. Had a really, really good match, didn't phone in at all. Ford was obviously great. Dawkins got chance. Dawkins got himself over. And he's always great, but I feel Montez Ford is so good, sometimes he can overshadow him a little bit.
Yeah.
You can forget just how good Dawkins is on his own. But the Bloodline did win, much to the disappointment of the live crowd. Tama Tonga was Tama Tongan. And the funny thing is, WWE uploaded a video of them coming back up the ramp after they won, like, oh yeah, we won, like Dublin, acknowledge you. And you can hear fans going, and the loudest one was, believe it or not, Sean O'Rourke, our fellow co-guest beside the camp. Is not here this week, but he attests this. And you can see Tama Tonga struggle. He does this like in reality he's laughing, like trying to hide a laugh, but he's trying to pass it off as, look at these idiots. Yeah, I'm Tama Tonga. So that was great. But Street Profits, they hung around a little bit after. And I forgot it was a house show, but I thought they were going to break up or retire. But they were coming up the ramp looking a bit dejected. And then B-Fab came out for the next match with Meechin. And they defeat Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven got a much bigger pop than Meechin and B-Fab. Obviously, Piper's not too far down the water.
Yeah.
In Scotland, and Chelsea Green's Chelsea Green. But had a pretty good match. Chelsea tried to avoid any physicality as much as possible. Even then, she took her own partner's bumps by her partner and stuff, as we were saying. So it was really good fun. Meechin and B-Fab eventually got the crowd into it in the end. Meechin and B-Fab retained, and B-Fab came to us, and I forgot she was near me, and I was going to say send my regards to Keith, just to be nice and wish him well, because I know he's been having a couple of issues, but no, great match, good fun. And the next match that followed was the US title. This was actually meant to just be 3 Arena had just advertised it was a singles match, LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes. But before this, they showed a video of Nick Aldis saying, "Hey everyone, welcome to WWE Live. It's a great show, whatever." And Andrade came up to him and said, LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes have a US title match. Why am I in it? And he's like, he didn't even really explain it. He was just like, yeah, if you want to be in it, go. And he said, oh yeah, and that match will happen now. So that's how it became a 3-way.
Okay.
Still good fun. It could be in Decider and everything else, and my legs from being walked off all day, but I don't think I enjoyed this match as much as I did a Crown Jewel because of that, but also it was literally the same match, and I'd watched it the night before, just in a smaller scale. LA Knight got the biggest pop, as you can imagine. Carmelo Hayes got a decent pop. Andrade didn't really get much pop at all, but he had the crowd in his hands by the end of it, which I think is a testament to him. And LA Knight retains. No one's losing a belt on a house show. Good fun, and shout out to Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah, what's your
horrendous?
Yeah, what? Go on, yeah. Sorry,
Carmelo Hayes took a horrendous. He took the BFT in the pin, but he spiked himself on the top of his head, so it looked pretty brutal. So fair play to him and taking that bump, and fair play not just to these lads, but everyone here who worked Crown Jewel and went straight on a flight to get to Dublin. They went from a royal banquet from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to SeanMac on O'Connell Street. I'm not saying anything wrong with that. That's bloody brilliant. But
dedication to your art.
And when we saw they were selling tour T-shirts at the merch table, they were in Dublin that night, and then London next night, Nottingham last night, and then Sheffield tonight. So no breaks at all. So it's such an admirable schedule, and please come back soon.
100%. What do you make of the future for Carmelo Hayes? What you thinking on
him? I think he can go really, really far. I could definitely see him winning the US title or the Intercontinental title, being a really, really solid mid-carder.
Yeah.
Or upper mid. Not that sounds insulting. I mean like upper mid-carder.
Yeah.
I think he has a lot of potential. I really like Carmelo Hayes, and I hope now with the US title and stuff he can go further, because I feel he's been a little bit lost in the shuffle in SmackDown as of recent. So hopefully he can get that back. And I feel the same about Andrade. But no, really good match.
Yeah, cool. Next up, DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa defeated Pretty Deadly.
Yeah, this was... Sean has probably kicked himself that he can't be here, because he has a lot to tell you about this match. So you'll know DIY are Sean's favorite team and two of his favorite wrestlers ever. He has DIY shirts, hats, antigen tests, wallpaper, mattress covers, face masks, needles, DIY needles, DIY. My point is, he likes them a lot, and he took the liberty of actually making a sign for DIY. So Pretty Deadly came out first, and they were like, "Oh, we're going to perform an excerpt from Pretty Deadly, the musical." So they kept doing that. The promo was a little bit long. The crowd got a little tired of them. And then DIY came out. They got a big pop. Gargano saw Sean's sign and held it up. And then he high-fived myself and Sean.
Awesome.
Had a good match. DIY were really over here. They beat Pretty Deadly. And then on the way back, Gargano saw the sign with... Actually, Sean took out a figure, or not a figure. He had a figure with him, but he wanted to get the sign signed, which is hard to say. And he said, "Hey, man, can I get a picture with you?" This is Gargano saying this to Sean, not the other way around. Yeah. So Gargano and Ciampa both got pictures with Sean. So this was fun. DIY, I haven't been crazy about this latest iteration of them, just because like their DIY run in NXT was amazing, and it's not as good as that, but also just not great entirely. These house shows, when there's so much less pressure, you can really see how talented a lot of these folks are, and they don't really get to show that on TV. And I think Gargano and Ciampa here, but also you see their own stuff that they've done against each other and with each other in the past is phenomenal. So hopefully they can get a boost, and I don't know, maybe work up to getting those tag belts again.
And also that close connection with the fans. Like, you think of Sean's experience there and your own with these two guys. I've met Johnny Gargano. I met him with Dino when we were at WrestleCon. He is an absolute gentleman, and Tommaso, I know, is the same. These are really guys who haven't forgot the privileged position that fans put them in. And it's really nice to see that, and it comes true. It's very, very wholesome, if you like. It's not contrived. It's not for WWE.com. It's not for YouTube. It's a real appreciation if you're a fan of theirs, and they show it back, so really cool. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Women's Championship, Nia Jax defeated Bayley.
Bayley got a big pop. Nia Jax got booed pretty heavily. Nia Jax kind of dominated Bayley a little bit. By the end of the match, he just pinned her, and I think Bayley rolled out of the ring, but Bayley was literally on the floor by the end of it. The match was a little bit... Well, it was kind of short, but because, they needed to build up for the main event. But no, it was good. Bayley's always a treat to see live. She's been ice cold the last couple of years, so the fact she has babyface again makes me hope that she'll get back, because she was so over at one point. Like,
oh my god!
And Nia Jax, I was never a fan of her. I think compared to her last run, she's got exponentially better in ring. Still a few things that are a bit rusty. I didn't see too much here, but like when you watch the PLEs and the matches on Raw and stuff, or not Raw, SmackDown now, it can be a bit clunky, but no, it was good. And then the main event was a Dublin street fight. It's like any other street fight, but it's in Dublin. So Solo comes out, huge boos. You can imagine the kids, they're sprinting at the barricade to try to see Cody. gets huge pop, crowd sing all his music. There's a guy sitting beside me with two little boys dressed in Cody gear. So for the second, whoa, he takes them and brings them over the barricade. They get to do it with him.
Awesome.
Yeah, so, the crowd love Cody. The street fight, it got as extreme as I expect ECW, NXT ECW to get tonight, which was some really poor shots with a kendo stick, Sandman rolling in his bed. A table, just like the OTT table, broke entirely on the first slam. You'd forget sometimes. And a chair, but there's no bloodline interference. I had a feeling they might try and get involved, because Solo can't do anything without them, but also because it's Extreme Rules or a street fight, they could have they could do it like without getting in trouble. But no, Cody powerbombed through a table, picked him up, crossroads 1, 2, 3. That was it. They did a big speech at the end. Cody, curfews don't apply. Thanks everyone. Thanks Dublin. What a great crowd. And then he wanted to give something away. So he saw the table broken in half and he said, wow, a perfectly split table. So then he stamps on the table to make a third bit. So he has loose, jagged bits of table and he says, I can only give one piece of the table to whoever screams the loudest. So people are on their feet trying to get this piece of a table. So eventually he gives them away. And then he pulled our old friend, our real tribal chief, Sam, over the barricade. He said, I hope you beat not Cody's record. I hope you beat Rowan's record. And also Cody acknowledged me. And that got a bigger pop than anything tonight. A fan asking Cody to acknowledge him. He got a big hug. It's a really nice way to end the show. I think Cody stayed for like 10 minutes or something to take pictures with fans. Sean was paper thin, but my dad was going crazy outside because it was Sunday. We had college in the morning. He's like, please come out now. We have to home late, all this. So that is 2 occasions. The first being Belfast, that Sean O'Rourke has not got a photo with Cody Rhodes. And I hope that we'll be able to, finish his story.
Absolutely.
I thought when one story finished, that being meeting DIY and getting stuff signed and stuff, another one opened, and that was to get a picture of Cody Rhodes. So hopefully, but that's a small price to pay for a great night and a great day as well. You were open on Sunday, so we got to go in, say hello, and get some gear, which is always appreciated. And I know they're coming to Belfast in March, I think, for the WrestleMania tour.
Yeah.
So hopefully next time they come a little bit closer to Dublin, it's nowhere near as late. And who knows, maybe the next time they come to Dublin, it might be something a little bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. There has been whispers going around. I don't know whether you've heard them of a Clash at the Castle Belfast.
Oh,
there's been that whisper going around now. I don't know how true it is, but
is there a castle in Belfast? Near Belfast?
Sure there has to be.
I wonder where they do that. Maybe the SSE or
obviously where they normally do the shows. No,
it have to be a stadium, but it's going to be so expensive knowing WWE. They're gonna abuse the dynamic pricing, and then Triple H is going to be there saying this is the highest grossing WWE pay-per-view in Belfast.
I think if the tickets go into I got fleeced last week for WrestleMania anyway, so I feel people's pain, and I shared it as well. But I really do think it's like they have to do something about the tickets because it's getting out of hand for people who are wrestling fans. You know what I mean?
It's not affordable. It's not even like. It's about like making money, and I know that's the point of a business, but it's too much. A single ticket fee should not be the price of what you would think would be too much for a normal ticket. I saw some of the Mania tickets; they were a couple grand a piece, and the fees on top of that were a couple $100 a piece.
I experienced fees in the region of €360. Fees.
That is
fees. I know now. I know it's Vegas. And I know it's Raider Stadium and Allegiant Stadium and all that, but €360 on a £1,000 ticket is scandalous. And and you're already talking about a £1,000 ticket that's like doubled in price from what its face value is.
And the worst thing is, not just at Mania, but with all PLEs that are priced like this, there's going to be fans who are never going to get to experience it, even if it's close to their home. And it's not because they don't want to go; it's because it's it's not affordable. It's not feasible to spend. Like I have a savings book from my granny that she opened when I was like 6, and there's a couple grand in that. And even with that money, I wouldn't spend half it on a ticket to a PLE. Like it's ridiculous. Yeah. It's absolutely scandalous. And I don't just mean this for wrestling. I mean it for all live entertainment. I really hope it's nipped in the bud soon.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's a monopoly in there with the company that's involved, so it's literally impossible. Yeah. And they kind of have the in with all the different stadiums and all the different arenas and everything else, so it's really a close shop. But what they've basically done is they found a way to legalize ticket touting. That's what they've done, basically.
Yeah.
You know? And it's shocking, really, you know.
Highway robbery.
Yeah, let's have a quick rundown on Raw then. Io Sky won a battle royal to become the #1 contender for the Women's World Championship, finishing up Lyra Valkyrie. I don't know if you've seen the German onto the apron, but it did have me going, oh,
yeah,
that's going to leave a sting.
Yeah, it looked pretty nasty indeed. I don't know how they do the apron bump safely, because there's so little padding, and it's the hardest part of the ring anyway. So like I think the risk and the danger from a casual observer's point seems so much higher. So doing a German on that is murder. But no, I think Io Sky's great. A little bit disappointed in, obviously I'd say, you know, Lyra should have won, but she's not doing anything of note at the minute, so I don't know if putting her in the title match would have been a good idea. But Io Sky is brilliant. When you see her, you know, stumbling around with damage control for all these years, you'd forget how good she can be. So hopefully, I don't think she's going to win the belt. It'd be nice if she did, but I don't see it happening. But a good win for Io Sky.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, how did you feel about this one? Damian Priest defeating Sheamus, Dominic, Seth via pinfall to become the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. What you thinking on them rolling this back into Priest versus Gunther? Seems weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, I feel initially, I don't know, but I think judging by Damian Priest's theme music, and it sounds strange, I think he's dissociating himself a little bit from the Judgment Day and the Terror Twins, which I think would be great, because I feel he's needed a refresh for a long time. I would say I like Damian Priest. I thought the match that he had at Gunther, the match that he had at SummerSlam with Gunther, excuse me, I thought that was a really good match. But at the same point, I didn't have a lot of desire to see it again. I think Sheamus, as much as I love him, he's had too many matches with Gunther, and he's lost all of them. Great matches, mind you, but like there's only so many times you can see your fellow countryman have his ginger nipples chopped off.
Yeah.
Dominic, I think it would have been funny just to see him get ragdolled and possibly steal the win, but I don't know if it would have resulted in like a good match, because they did that on Raw and it was funny, you know, watching him get his mustache rearranged.
I suppose when you're going into something as serious as a #1 contender spot, it has to be a bit more, you know, it has to be a bit more serious, let's say, if you look.
No. And Seth and Gunther, I think, would be really interesting. I think they had a match in like 2019. This was boring babyface Seth against White Hot Gunther on the main roster, or Walter on the main roster. So it ended in like 3 minutes. Yeah. Thank you, Reggie. Hopefully see you soon, man. Thanks for the kind words. Reggie's so nice. He's so complimentary of me. No one else is. I don't get this love from anybody in the chat, I feel. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting carried away. Just too over emotional. I think an actual Seth versus a serious Gunther match on Raw that's not dictated by Vince would be great. But we said earlier, I think the next thing for Seth after Bronson Reed's done has to be Punk. And I feel him going up against Gunther would prolong Punk. I feel it would make the Bronson Reed thing feel rushed. It might even extend it. Yeah. Bronson Reed might even get involved, and I would hate for that to happen. So I think they all would have been interesting, but I think Damian Priest, Sans Judgment Day, and Sans Rhea Ripley, I think is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and it's always, I suppose, it's difficult as well when you've spent 2 years or whatever it is going around in a faction, and then you split from that faction, and you're there with Rhea, and then Rhea obviously with the orbital bone injury, and she's going to be out and stuff like that, and then you're left with, then you're kind of on your own, that kind of way, and it's an adjustment, I would imagine,
Absolutely.
Yeah, we shall see. War Raiders defeated the New Day. I do like the War Raiders, I have to say.
Yeah. Not the Viking Raiders or the Viking Experience. But again, I feel like they haven't been. Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah,
The Viking Experience. I still laugh at that. But I feel the War Raiders haven't been presented as threats in a long time. I feel the ship has. Some people will say it's totally sailed and it's not come back. I feel it's hanging by a hook.
Yeah.
I hope they can be good, but I feel the focus here is on the New Day, because next week on Raw is going to be a 10-year celebration of the New Day, and the last time somebody had a celebration for their friend, it was Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, and it had one of the most heartbreaking breakups, heel turns I've ever seen in my life. Legit, I watched it and my heart sunk when he was like, "This list has my name on it." It was just horrendous. And I think
this is coming, isn't it? This is coming. We know this.
I mean, it's hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
If Xavier Woods doesn't kick him in the balls, punch him in the face, power slam him through a table or something, they're really missing out. But I think this is another thing to fuel to Xavier Woods' fire. Can't win tag matches. Thing is gone. Big E's gone. Kofi, keeps making decisions for him, and he has to cheat to win and do stuff. I think the seeds are planted and the tree is almost there. And I think by next week it's going to be there. But then I don't know how it's going to go. Xavier Woods heel breaking up the New Day. I didn't like when they did it in the draft, but now they're really doing it. Because even then they had Kofi and Xavier Woods. But now if Xavier Woods is breaking up, it's going to be pretty interesting dynamic. We'll have to see where it goes.
Okay, here's an idea. We've just lost the Hurt Business, and Bobby Lashley and MVP, they've gone off to pastures in AEW, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does Big E play a part in this? Does Big E assist in the beatdown of Kofi? And does Big E become Xavier's manager? And we get a kind of a New Day, Hurt Business, reincarnation. You boys are gone to AEW. We have a void here now that we did have with these heel kind of situation. Big E come in as a manager for Xavier as a heel.
That would be such a knife to the heart. I will say though, MVP, people were complaining, "Why aren't you on TV?" And he said apparently he repitched the Hurt Business to Triple H, and Triple H said no, and that's why his morale was low and that it ran out. So for me, I feel there's a void, but I don't write the show, and Triple H clearly didn't see that void. So if he didn't see it with MVP and Lashley, I don't know if he's going to see it with New Day. I think it's a really interesting idea, though. I think it would really make it emotional if Big E was involved as well.
Well, this breakup of the New Day, this has to be a big deal. These guys have been around for so long now. I even questioned the 10-year celebration. You know what I mean? I think in a few years shaved off that, to be honest.
If it's a breakup, if it is a breakup, like we're saying, it has to deliver. It really has to deliver.
This has to feel like kind of Batista Mysterio beat, doesn't it? Big Show Mysterio beat down.
How disappointing would it be to have a team with the longevity and the accolades of the New Day, and then when the time comes to break them up, do it really poorly? It would just be, I think it would completely piss on all the hard work that they've been doing to kind of make Woods lean into being an arsehole before fully going there. I think it would ruin the New Day as a whole, because 10 years from now we'd say, they were a great team, they won all this, but the breakup was so bad. Like Jericho and Kevin Owens, I don't know if we remember too much about them as a team. We all remember the Festival of Friendship because it was so sad and so well done. And I hope that they can do this here if it is.
They did a figure set of it. That's how important it was. Remember they did the figure set?
And they had the painting, what's this painting called? When the lad's like reaching out with his hand like this, naked, and the fruit. It was so good. Oh my god! But I don't know. If it is, as you're saying, if it doesn't deliver, it's gonna really sting. But I'd be hopeful.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting though. I want it to be. It has to be a big deal. And Big E has to be involved somewhere in this.
Yeah.
No, he has to be involved somewhere either, because this has to have shock value in it. We know it's coming, but the scale of it has to give us something, you know.
But then, and I mean, I'm just being too optimistic here. Do you think it could, in some way, depending on how he is, lead to an in-ring return for Big E, even just for like a one-off match or something like that? Maybe not a full in-ring return, but something like that. If he's going to be involved to the scale that you're saying you think he will be.
I'd like him to be involved, but I think I'm not too sure on the injury and where he's at with all that kind of stuff. I know he's doing these 6-month scans and updates and all, and I don't know, maybe he's not ready for that, but certainly he could play some sort of a manager type of role, kind of, you know, supporter even, or something like that, you know. But it will be kind of weird as well with the relationship that's there if he went with Xavier and not with Kofi. But then I wonder, will Xavier be able to exist in that kind of heelish situation without having, you know, someone there with him to lean on? We spoke about it before. When you break both these guys up, where do they go? 2-hour Raw, nowhere really to go. No. You know, they're already trying to butcher matches in here, as you can see, crammed into the 2 hours. So now you have two guys that were in tag matches and stuff like that now suddenly have to go up against each other in a kind of some sort of single scenario type of thing and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think Xavier might need a spokesperson. I wonder, could Big E be that guy? And I tell you, I'd like to see Big E go heel. I know they nearly did it for a little bit, and they were trying to get it going when he was wrestling and stuff like that and all, but it would be interesting to see. And certainly if you're in the ring next week, if Big E and Xavier were beating Kofi down, that might be that shock moment, you know. This is the new day.
Yeah. That would be the equivalent of Jericho seeing his name on the list. That would be the wait, what?
Yeah.
Kind of moment, and that would be really hard, because that would get sympathy for Kofi if his tag partner, who's been an arse, broke him up, but also his brother, who lost wrestling not through his own fault or not through his hands.
This is a death in the family levels.
Yeah, this is
how it should feel.
Having so much anger with the world and the fact he's in the situation he's in now that he will never wrestle again. So he's taking it out on Kofi because he wants the New Day to have a legacy, and all the shit that Kofi's been doing, whether he realizes or not, has been destroying the New Day's legacy. It's something that he's built for a long time.
Yeah. It's kind of like, okay, we've had these two guys, they've ran the course, the New Day. Let's break them up. So creative, what have you got for them? Well, one can stay on Raw and do this, and the other might need to head off to NXT or something like that. And it's like,
that's
or maybe both might end up heading off to NXT. Who knows? You know what I mean? It's who knows. We got the Sammy J and Jimmy stuff, but we probably don't need to dwell on that because we've got
Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and Jimmy Uso all talked.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, it's in the picture there. I mean, the proof's there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Dragon Lee defeated Chad Gable via pinfall, Mr. German Suplex. This is like the super kick party, isn't it? German suplexes are the new super kick, aren't they?
I always loved a suplex instead of a super kick. Super kicks are kind of quick and sharp, but suplexes are just killer.
Yeah,
and when they're delivered by the right guy and taken by the right guy, they can be murder. Chad Gable's fantastic. Dragon Lee's really good as well. Short, quick match. I don't really know. There's probably not too much else I can say about this, unless you have anything else to add.
Yeah, this is kind of gorilla position, lads. We've 10 minutes to spare. Go.
Yeah, that's the thing about these 2-hour Raws. They feel a little bit.
Man, I've never felt. In the last, say, 2 years, I've never felt so somewhat detached from what Raw since it went to 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'm trying to wrap my head around, and it feels rushed even when you're watching it.
It's like Morrissey. I was looking for a 2-hour Raw, and then I found a 2-hour Raw, and heaven knows I'm miserable now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we rounded out then with Gunther was interviewed, but there you go. That's it.
But there's no pictures of it. So did it happen?
Yeah. Oh, it definitely happened. It definitely happened, but
Was it a figment of my imagination?
I ran out of slide.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I mean,
that's what I'm chalking it down to.
you're breaking up the size just to get stuff in, just like how Triple H is booking Raw, just to get everything in.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure we don't go 3 hours.
Yeah, we're already on an hour now, so maybe stretching it.
We ain't got much longer. Don't worry, it's all good.
No, yeah.
NXT 2300. I know I thought this. Now I fundamentally came onto this. I hadn't spoke to you about this, and I thought this would have kind of sat well with you, but it doesn't feel like it's sitting well with you.
It's just I never got back into NXT after they old Yellard black and gold when they took it out and shot it.
Well, they're kind of meeting you halfway here, aren't they? It's kind of black and silver.
But even then, I think the wrestling's good. I still don't like. There's still stuff on the show I don't like. I still, don't really like the cheesy backstage drama. It's not cheesy in a funny way. It's just cheesy in like an annoying way, and it gets to a point where you don't want to watch it.
There it is. That's Shawn Michaels' handprint all over it, isn't it?
Yeah,
there you go.
That's what happens when you give the two lads who try and suck at the keys to run the company. I will say though, I appreciate that they are, kind of bringing back a few old PLEs. But ECW, as you'll know from people who know me, if you seen the Dark Side of the Ring episode that me and Niall did talking about the Sandman, if you really go back to the archives now, if you watched me on the Collector's Corner on the 4 Podmen talking about my DVDs and how many ECW stuff I had in there, you'll know ECW has a very special place in my heart. So the fact that it was being revived simply as a ratings thing, that's what it seemed like to me. Now looking at it, I don't think it is. But initially, I don't know. I didn't like it. But I am hopeful because Dynamite's on tonight as well. And WWE and NXT typically do their best work when their back's against the wall. And I appreciate that they dug out some names like Dawn Marie as special referee is really cool. Francine being there is great.
Yeah.
Maybe not Bubba Ray Dudley. The only thing I'm hopeful of is that there will be more people from ECW here. But considering a lot of them are dead, a lot of them are in other companies, there's been lawsuits and stuff like that, I don't know how much they could get. But I'm interested to see the show. I'm interested to see how the 2-300 arena looks with NXT stuff, because I'm watching ECW. I'm always so used to the bare bones setup of a curtain and then a few lights and maybe a sound desk.
Do you know what's going to be? Do you know what's going to be really interesting? To see the type of fan that bought the ticket. To see what is there going to be? Are we going to see some of those guys there and girls there that you kind of stick out, maybe recognize from back way when kind of thing, and that'll be kind of interesting as well.
Was this always going to be an ECW thing? Like, was it always announced as ECW Arena, or do you think people just bought tickets because they're like, oh, it's in Philly and I don't live too far away from Philly, so I can?
No, I think they were pushing them in. If you look at who's in there, and obviously they've been setting the narrative now with Bubba Ray and stuff like that. They've been putting that out there on Busted Open and stuff like that and all. And obviously with Francine, they did mention Rob Van Dam as well.
I think he's saying he's probably either going to wrestle Yvonne Evans or Carmelo Hayes, or not? Was it Carmelo Hayes or was it Trick? I think it was Trick. Sorry, I don't watch NXT. I think either of them could be very interesting matches. And also, if Rob Van Dam's hanging around, I think him and Carmelo in the main roster would be lit. I don't know. Look, ECW, it's looked back on very fondly by me. If you're going to dig it up, you better do something good with it. And I will watch this, but I swear to God, I won't be. Well, I will not watch NXT. If they mess this up, if they piss on the grave of ECW, I will. I
could just hear my phone on the locker there going ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, just I don't know, but no.
I have a funny feeling they're going to do a good job in it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I mean, I like some of the people here. I love all the ECW people that have been announced. I mean, Francine, Dawn Marie, Bubba Ray, RVD especially, and probably whoever else. But I don't know. I'm just skeptical.
Here's one for you. Here's one for you. Does Heyman open this show?
No.
No.
I think that you're setting your standards too high. If you can't even buy a ticket, what makes you think they're going to get Heyman? You know, that would be amazing. That would be so cool if it did happen. But I don't know. Would they really go this hard just for one normal episode? In just so happens to be in the ECW arena. Do you think? Like how big are we talking here? Because this to me, it just seems like another episode of NXT with Dom Marie and Francine and and a couple of legends. It's like Legends Night.
Sometimes they do these things to sometimes test the water.
You
know, maybe this is potentially a testing of the water. Who knows?
Yeah, you know? I'm really looking forward to seeing Dom Marie though. I've always had time for her.
Yeah,
I always loved her when I was watching the old ECW DVDs and tapes. And same with Francine. The only thing I'm just hoping, I really hope we have surprises. They don't even have to wrestle, but just to do a backstage segment or something.
Yeah.
And have Sandman and have, I was going to say Terry Funk. I forgot he's sadly no longer with us. To have Sandman, to have Mikey Whipwreck, to have, again, I'm looking at my poster, to have Sabu, to have Spike, Devon, which Dudley, I'm just trying to think. I have a Dudley Boy sticker here. I think all of them bar Spike, Devon, and Bubba are dead. What about Sign Guy Dudley? He's still with us.
Yeah.
Have Sign Guy.
Tommy Dreamer.
Tommy Dreamer. I think, is he with Impact though? Or is he not?
Well, I mean, he's involved. Well, he's involved in TNA, isn't he?
Yeah,
TNA now, so the connection is there.
Oh, so. Yeah, maybe. But like he's not like doing anything in TNA currently, so I don't know. Do you think they'd get Just Incredible if Francine's there? Do you think? And if Dawn Marie's there, do you think they could get like Lance Storm maybe or something like that? I don't know. No. I'm just, or maybe no, they wouldn't do.
You said I was setting the bar high.
Yeah. I got carried away.
Now you've gone off
and I name all these people.
Yeah.
And if it was Saudi, Terry Funk, Candido, Ian Rotten, Axel Rotten. Louis Piccoli, New Jack, who else? I'm trying to
make it happen, Vince.
Yeah,
make it happen.
He'd find a way, wouldn't he? He'd just get Ruckus or some other gangster. I don't know. Yeah. Look, I am hopeful. I am not going to give shit to someone trying to do an ECW thing and then not watch it. The only way I can form a proper opinion on this is if I watch it. So I'm going to try either by staying up or by just, catching it tomorrow. But
hey, Trick, get the tables.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the same ring to it, sure doesn't.
No, it really, no. But you have to, it's NXT. You're going to have to accept it's not going to be quite like the real thing. But, we'll see.
Then Devon comes out and screws them, and Ethan Page and Rich Holland get the win. That's what you want. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Or Thing win, or like Ethan Page and Rich Holland win, and then they get like a 3D through a table or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the ball is in their court. They better not miss. I'll just say that. Think of me.
I might have to skip you next week on the show and bring you on the week after, depending on how much you're fuming.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But,
I'll have to do a slide like Undertaker's graveyard with all the tombstones, but just have or something. Yeah. That'll be interesting.
I'll sell my injuries, sell my death, and not go.
There we go.
Yeah.
We'll look forward to it, and we'll see how it goes. And if it doesn't hit the spots that we expect, we will let people know. Get Stone Cold for ECW. Keith, they couldn't even get him for Mania.
Yeah, you think? And the funny thing is, they wanted him at Mania to do a stunner. He's not even going to do anything here. Maybe cut a promo, and they can't get him for that. You're setting your hopes way too high. I'd be surprised if Rob Van Dam even showed up. To be honest with you, like, are we going to get anyone advertised? Do you think? Maybe not Rob Van Dam not showing up, but like, through rose-tinted glasses, this looks great, but when you take them off, it's WWE's developmental with a few legends. You know, so I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I'd say I reckon the good folk over in AEW are as hesitant as you as to how this is going to go, because they are going up against Dynamite, so
we'll see. I mean, NXT always kind of beats them, but also the star power of Dawn Marie and Rob and Francine and maybe not Bubba, but possibly the other people who'll show up backstage. Who knows? But yeah, ECW it's very near and dear to my heart. I'm giving you my heart. Don't stab it or drop it or whatever that expression is.
Yeah.
Just please don't be shite. That's all I ask. Please don't be shite. I don't give NXT the light of day. This is one of the chances I am. Don't make me feel like I'm wasting my time.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's take a little bit of history and birthdays, and then we get you out of here so you can prepare yourself for this. You sound like you're pumped for it anyway. Right, so I gave a little bit of the back end of Halloween, and I gave a little bit of stuff related to the election. So that's how I picked the history a little bit this week.
Oh, okay.
Somewhat. Not quite as you would think, though. But we started off 1986. Rowdy Roddy Piper, starred and directed by the legendary John Carpenter. They Live was released in cinemas. Considered one of the classics of the horror genre in the 1980s.
I love They Live. My brother got a t-shirt from that, from his Wrestle Crate. And he said, I don't know what this is. You can have it. And I looked at it, and it's him at the arcade machine.
Yes.
And says, came to chew bubblegum, kick ass, and all that bubblegum. I'm like, I have to have it. Please give it to me. So I have that in my wardrobe. Love Roddy Piper and love that movie. It's so dumb, but
yeah,
Hot Rod makes it.
1996, a rookie named Rocky Maivia, who most know went on to become famous as The Rock, made his television debut in WWF, getting involved in a melee following a match between Goldust and the Stalker. Here we go.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I have no idea who she is.
2002, following a short stint on SmackDown as the Deacon, Dave Bautista made his Raw debut by destroying Justin Credible in just 85 seconds. There you go.
Of course, you put that in on purpose. I know you did.
I wonder how Dave Bautista feels today after Trump winning. Interesting.
Probably offline on most socials.
Yeah, probably.
But I'll say this: he beat Undertaker at Hell in a Cell in 2007 at Survivor Series 2007. So he does have some win over the Undertaker. So he can kind of stand the higher ground. But it's not the Undertaker voted for all these people. All Undertaker said is, I think you should vote for this person because blank. Batista said, I think you should vote for this person because blank. And the people voted, and there's just more for Trump, unfortunately.
There you go. 2001 on a Monday Night Raw, The Rock defeated Chris Jericho to win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. 2006, the first ever WWE Cyber Sunday took place in Cincinnati, Ohio. The event kept the same fan voting theme as its predecessor, Taboo Tuesday.
I would love if they brought that back, honestly. Wouldn't it be great? It'd just be like an Instagram poll or something.
Yeah, in the main event, World Heavyweight Champion King Booker defeated WWE Champion John Cena and ECW Champion The Big Show. ECW Champion The Big Show.
Yeah, wait a minute. Was that? Yeah. Am I thinking right? I think I got it on DVD and I watched it on a sick day during school. Didn't Kevin Federline interfere? Cena was about to win and Kevin Federline came in and ruined it. If I remember right.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was going through, wasn't he at the time going through all the Britney stuff? So he was a proper heel at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, but not enough to, make him come on Raw and destroy WWE champion.
I think a sad day for everyone. 2003 this week, Mike Lockwood, best known to fans as Crash Holly, sadly passed away at the age of 32.
Yeah, so young as well, like unbelievable.
What a smile. And I used to love that Wayne Scales. I certainly did.
Yeah, and his walk and everything was just, yeah, man, what a loss.
Now, I told you we get into a little bit here. 2012, this week, 2012, Linda McMahon loses her race to be elected to the U.S. Senate. There you go. I read today as well, Kamala Harris paid something like $1 billion for her campaign.
Really?
Imagine losing something like that. That was something crazy like that or something I heard.
God, poor Kamala.
2005, this is one you'll surely remember because as wrestling fans, November is always a very tough month for us for obvious reasons. Eddie Guerrero defeated Mr. Kennedy on SmackDown to earn a spot on the Blue Brands team at the up-and-coming Survivor Series pay-per-view. He would never make it. This was Guerrero's last professional wrestling match before his death 4 days later. R.I.P. Eddie Guerrero. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Legend. So I thought I'd ended on that one, and that was a sad note. And now even listening to interviews with Ken Kennedy and stuff like that, it's still tough for him to this day. Notable birthdays. So we start off with your buddy from WWE Live Dublin, Nick Aldis, 1986. The Olympian himself, Ken Patera, 1943. 1957, the man who is the king of squashing little people, King Kong Bundy.
Bundy.
And then,
God.
And then a little bit of AEW for tonight, but 1957, one Tony Schiavone, the voice of AEW.
Oh.
And then we rounded out with 1987, more AEW, Okada. So it's his birthday this week as well. So
87.
87,
God,
yeah.
He's still really young, isn't he?
They age well, don't they?
Yeah. No, he still looks in his 20s. What a guy.
Yeah, I think the only thing that doesn't age well on a Japanese wrestler is their back. When you see their back, that's where they age.
Yeah.
And everything else tends to be okay. Maybe a little bit in the chest as well. No, they don't. Certainly not. But phenomenal. No. But they're your birthdays. I told you there wasn't too many, and it was interesting the way I kind of plucked them. I did try to find a few relative to the election and all that kind of stuff, but there wasn't really anything there. So there you go. Another show in the bag. Rounding out 2 full-on weeks of wrestling for you between reviews and previews and all the rest of it. Big up to Sean. Obviously, you couldn't make it tonight, but we'll get him back on, no doubt about it. Yeah, I hope 100%. NXT. I'm worried about NXT delivering now. Looking at you on camera, I'm worried about it delivering.
Yeah.
I will message you at 1 a.m. if Heyman comes out to start the show.
I might be up for it, so yeah, I could see it, but we'll see.
But as always, folks, really appreciate you tuning in, everyone in the chat and all that kind of stuff. If you can catch it on the replay as well, if you haven't watched it. If you can't subscribe, hit the bell notification button, drop a like in the video. I'll be back tomorrow night with Darren for Thursday Tier Talk. We'll bring you a whole Premier League preview, beat the bookie, probably have a look at a review of the European football and all that kind of stuff. I just uploaded a recap. My thoughts on the Leverkusen match from last night with Liverpool, and we'll also have a preview for you for the Aston Villa game as well at some stage Friday or Saturday or whatever it is. So until next time, folks, have a safe week, enjoy your wrestling, or if you can't, why aren't you? From myself and from my co-host tonight, Sean, have a good week, kid. Appreciate you coming on, and we'll all talk again real soon.
Oh my God.